Welcome back to the Spring to Life podcast. I'm Caitlin. I'm your host, hormone health coach, fertility awareness educator, and Pilates instructor. I'm also the creator of the Spring to Life method. I created the Spring to Life method to empower women to embrace their cyclical nature through fertility awareness, cycle syncing, Pilates, Buddhist medicine, and non-toxic living. And of course, this podcast is a vehicle for me to deliver that information to you. So thank you for being here, and I'm excited to share today's episode with you. So today I wanted to give you just a little bit of an update, a life update, a Spring to Life brand update, because I've been sharing some really great guest interviews with you the past few weeks. We've welcomed 2024, and I'm excited about what is ahead for me and for the Spring to Life method. So first of all, I want to tell you about Get Synced. Since I started the Spring to Life method back in 2020, I had this vision for this place, this membership where women could go to access all the information that they needed in order to truly embrace their cyclical nature. And this idea came to me because I really felt like I was in the weeds when I was trying to figure out cycle syncing and fertility awareness and how to eat for my cycle and when to eat what foods. And it becomes really complicated and overwhelming. And I think that that can be kind of discouraging or a put off to some people. And what I really discovered the more I dove into this information is that it does not have to be complicated. Once you know and understand your cycle and what that means for you. So it really comes down to tuning into you, yourself, your energy, your needs. Then cycle syncing, I'm using air quotes, cycle syncing becomes so much easier because you're really just listening to you. And I think that this is so important because we do live in a culture where it has become celebrated or even expected for us to just constantly be going, hustling, producing, grinding, whatever it is to, get to our goals. And of course, we have a lot of responsibilities as adults and expectations and things. So it's easy to become kind of burnt out and used to not listening to the signals that your body is sending you. And I think that's also why we take for granted the fact that things like PMS symptoms or, brain fog, bloating, fatigue, food sensitivities, these acne, even these things are not normal. They are very common because of the lifestyle that we live, but they are not normal. So when you throw away the idea that all of these things that you are suffering from are normal, you are now open to the idea that your unique rhythm, your cyclical biology holds the answer, holds the key to you feeling good all of the time. So that's really my goal in sharing the abundance of information in my Get Synced membership. So I wanted to tell you about what you can expect to find inside, because like I said, I know firsthand how intimidating hormone health, birth control options, cycle syncing, reducing toxic exposure, knowing what to eat, handling body image, reducing PMS, like how overwhelming and intimidating all of that can be. So Get Synced takes the complications out of the equation because it really comes down to truly tuning into you and your energy. So the first and most important thing that you're going to find, I don't want to say it's the most important, but it's most important in getting you started on this cyclical journey, is the Cyclical Living course. Now, this is designed to help you harness your feminine body independence through cycle charting education and cycle syncing practices. So what you're going to learn through this course is how to chart your fertile biomarkers in order to prevent pregnancy. So if your goal is to not become pregnant, you can use your natural cycle, your fertile biomarkers, to identify your fertile window and take appropriate action in order to prevent pregnancy. On the flip side of that, if you do want to become pregnant in the near future, this practice of cycle charting can also be used to that goal because you are in control of monitoring your fertility. So woven into this is a 3-month course. You're going to do 3 longer modules, and then you've got smaller little mini cycle syncing lessons within. You're going to layer these rules of cycle charting. And I've done a whole episode on the method of cycle charting that I teach. We do not need to take our temperature first thing in the morning. You don't have to sit with a BBT thermometer underneath your tongue for 10 minutes before you get out of bed. Personally, I just don't find that to be a realistic practice. Don't always get up at the same time every day. Don't always remember to put the thermometer under my tongue in the past when I've tried this. And also, like, you are supposed to take your temperature before you get out of bed at the same time every morning. If you have to get up and go to the bathroom, that can mess up. There's so many factors that can interfere with accurate BBT readings. I'm going on a tangent now. So many factors that can interfere with accurate BBT readings that, to me, it just doesn't seem reasonable to use that unless you're wearing some sort of wearable device. It doesn't make sense to me to be using that, not only because there are so many factors that can interfere with it, but also because taking your temperature does not give you an indication of approaching ovulation. It is only going to allow you to confirm that it's happened already. So in the method that I teach, I consider it to be a little bit more proactive because you are learning to observe external biomarkers. And when I say external biomarkers, I mean cervical mucus observations. You might be like, ew, gross, but like, hello, this is something that we've been experiencing since puberty. So isn't it responsible of us to go a little deeper and understand what those observations are telling us? And what I can tell you is that the quality of your cervical mucus is a direct reflection of your hormonal fluctuations. So as you're seeing these real-time fluctuations in CM observations, you are able to understand where you are in terms of your fertility. And you can only become pregnant, within this 5 to 7 day window each cycle. So for the majority of your cycle, you're infertile. We are learning to determine that fertile window through this cycle charting course. And then, of course, we're layering in really understanding the phases of the cycle, how to regulate your cycle if you're having irregular cycles, how to cycle sync your exercise and work in creative practices, how to cycle sync your macros and make sure you're getting the right micronutrients. So this is going to really empower you to feel in control, not only of your fertility, but also your cycle. And then from there, you can start to implement more cycle syncing practices. You have full access and get synced to a Cyclical Pilates library with everything from the fundamentals of Pilates to phase-specific flows. We have strengthen, lengthen, and define. So strengthen flows are traditional mat Pilates, lengthen flows are active and deep stretching, and define flows are weighted Pilates-inspired circuits. So as your hormones rise and fall throughout your cycle, you are able to tune into what type of exercise intensity is going to be most appropriate to you. You also get access to live classes for members every week. We're right now meeting on Thursday afternoons, but as our community grows, I'm definitely open to adding classes, changing times. I want it to be really accessible to you. On the note of live classes, though, as Get Synced is getting started here, I want you to be able to experience these phase-specific Pilates flows. So for the next 3 Thursdays, starting this week on the 25th, and then the 1st of February and the 8th of February, I'm opening up these live classes to anyone that wants to come in and experience phase-specific Pilates. all you have to do is get in touch with me either, on Instagram, probably is going to be the best way. You could also send me an email. I'll put my email address in the show notes if you're not a social media person. But just get in touch with me. I'll get you on the list. I'll get you that Zoom link so that you can join into class. This week, we are doing a defined flow. So we're going to do a weighted Pilates-based circuit with 3-pound weights. And then the following week, we'll be doing strengthen, so traditional mat Pilates, and then lengthen the following week. And again, these classes are for the members usually, but I'm opening it up to everybody to really understand how I have customized my approach to Pilates to fit our cyclical nature. Now, you might be saying, well, I've got these PMS symptoms. I've got these quote unquote normal symptoms that you were talking about. That is where the food as medicine cabinet comes in. This is so that you can turn to nutrient dense whole foods before pharmaceuticals in order to naturally balance your hormones and eliminate PMS symptoms, recover from burnout, and or transition off of hormonal birth control. One of the things that you will find in the food as medicine cabinet is the Spring to Life reset. This is great if you are experiencing burnout, if you are just wanting to get rid of some PMS symptoms, or if you want to transition off of hormonal birth control. This is going to get your foundational habits in place. It is going to help you to adjust your nutrition and your supplementation in order to have a smooth transition off of hormonal birth control or recovery from burnout so you can really get your spark back. And then finally, what you will find is simple solutions. So these are my trusted brands and home DIY alternatives to toxic personal care, home and cleaning products that we regularly use. I'm going to be sharing my favorite brands for personal care products. And then I really love doing some DIYs. I've really gotten into essential oils in the last year or so. And I kind of was a skeptic because I was never using really quality oils in the past. I have been using doTERRA oils for the past year, and I personally been pretty amazed by the quality and the efficacy of these oils. And I've been having a lot of fun experimenting and doing these DIYs. So basically, I'm testing out these DIYs. The ones that work, I'm sharing with you. For example, I love using lemon oil as a stain remover in my laundry. I love now making my own room sprays because you know that we're not buying Febreze anymore. I love doing diffusers because candles are not allowed in my home anymore. And one of the projects that I'm going to try this week is making my own jewelry cleaner with lime oil. So stay tuned to find out how that goes. And that might be something that's going up in the Simple Solutions library very soon. The final thing that I'm offering you in this membership, and is really packed with so much, is a monthly Q&A call to answer all of your questions on any of these topics. There are forms within the site throughout where you can submit questions. You can also show up live and ask your questions then. And those recordings, of course, will always be housed in the membership. And throughout the rest of the month of January, we're getting towards the end, you can save $200 on your yearly membership. So you don't want to wait on this offer. After January, your yearly membership is going to be $333. But if you act now and join Get Synced, you can save $200 and lock yourself in at $133 a month, which is like an amazing price for what you're getting. If you subscribe on a monthly basis, it's $33 a month. And I've got to tell you that these prices are probably not going to stay this low for long because of how much content is in the site and how much I foresee it expanding. And spoiler alert, I do foresee there being guest practitioners coming in to teach workshops, and just having this whole supply of resources for women in any stage of life to be able to come in and address their hormonal symptoms and feel great, mostly naturally. Pharmaceuticals are there for a reason. In certain circumstances, they are necessary, but a lot of the times we can be addressing our hormonal symptoms in a natural manner and not experiencing harmful side effects in the long run. So I'm really excited about this. If you're curious about it and you want to know more, please send me a DM on Instagram at Spring to Life Method, or like I said, I'll put my email in the show notes so that you can also check that out. So that's what's new with the Spring to Life Method. I also wanted to give you just a little bit of a personal update because I haven't been able to talk too much on the podcast recently, and I've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes, not super present on Instagram, although that's hopefully going to be changing in the coming weeks here as I really get things solidified behind the scenes. But I wanted to share some of the things that I've been experimenting with and trying to prioritize as we've entered January. The first thing is kind of resetting my movement routine. Obviously, Pilates has been a part of my life for some time now. But being a solo entrepreneur that works from home and doesn't necessarily have a dedicated Pilates studio with equipment at the moment, I found myself being very irregular and sporadic in my workouts. And I was creating for my membership, for my community, for my audience, but I wasn't necessarily moving for myself. So I really made a commitment to me into making sure that I am getting my personal Pilates practice in. And what that looks like for me is signing up for and committing to classes with some of my favorite teachers, because teachers need teachers. It's this whole trickle down of inspiration and knowledge. So really been enjoying showing up in my favorite teachers' classes and prioritizing movement for me in the morning, which I typically don't want to do. I love a slow morning, but then once I get the ball rolling on my day and I start taking care of my responsibilities, I know the first thing I'm going to neglect is my movement practice. If I leave it till the afternoon and I get really busy, I'm not going to do it. So I've been really being much stricter. I don't really want to say strict, but more regimented with myself and getting myself on the mat in the morning. And it just does wonders for how I feel in my body and how productive I am through the rest of the day. And it's also helping me to create better movement for you. I don't want to say better, but more creative things for you, especially when it comes to our defined flows, which have really evolved over time with the Spring to Life method. So I'm really excited for you to experience the newer defined flows that I'm bringing to you, just how effective they are, how fun they are to do. I've also been really making sure that I spend time outside, even though we are in winter and it's very cold and snowy in Montana. I've been trying to make sure that I get outside every day with my dogs, whether it's a walk, whether it's playing in the park. It's just been more of like hiking through snow, even on our little trails here. That's definitely what I'm doing right after I finish filming this podcast. And the other thing is prioritizing more self-care. Obviously, I love self-care. I love skincare, and self-care can be really anything. So for me, that means that I schedule an hour on Monday to go to the infrared sauna and sweat it out, do my detox, spend some time reading without any of the distractions that I have at home, the responsibilities that I have at home. So setting aside that time for myself and making sure that I'm filling my cup at the beginning of the week. And this is something you could do on the weekends, but I typically am like deep cleaning my house and doing laundry on Saturday, Sunday. So it feels good on Monday when Jordan goes to work for me to just spend some time taking care of myself. And the last thing that I wanted to share with you is that I've been consolidating my supplements and really trying to prioritize food as medicine. So I was actually really inspired by two of the guests that I had on recently. I had Monica Groney from Marea Wellness on in December. She created the PMS elixir a few years ago. If you haven't listened to Monica's episode, you really should. She struggled with PMDD for years, not really being able to figure out what was going on with her, why she had these disruptions in her life cyclically for, I think she said like 17 years. And then she formulated this PMS elixir, which is, it's a powdered drink supplement. And it has all of the vitamins and micronutrients that women need in order to keep our hormones balanced and reduce or eliminate PMS symptoms. So she launched a new flavor, tropical. I think it tastes like papaya juice, like in a good way. They launched a new flavor, and I am really into the tropical flavor. And I love that it has all of those vitamins and micronutrients. So I've been loving drinking that in the morning. It's a great way to get my vitamins and get hydrated after a long night's sleep. I'm still taking my Well Bell because my hair health is still a priority, and that is going to be another DIY in the membership soon. I've made some scalp serums in the past. That I made one with jojoba oil that was more of a clarifying serum, really like cleaned the scalp. I'm going to make a castor oil and rosemary serum and see if that gives me any result in terms of growth and thickness. So I'm really excited to experiment with that and share that with you. So taking my Marea, taking my Well Bell, and then eating my probiotics. So I've been leaning into food as medicine. I haven't been taking a probiotic pill for a couple of months now. And it's not to say that I won't in the future. I do think that that is something important once you have your gut in a good place to rotate probiotics in. But I've been prioritizing eating high quality sauerkraut and Greek yogurt in order to get those probiotics in naturally. And then I also had Julia Kromanski Miller from Manski's Wellness, my favorite seed cycling company, on earlier this month. And she talked a lot about her MBody Bars, which are functional micronutrient bars for happy hormones. They have 3 different flavors, and they range from 11 to 13 grams of protein per bar. So it's a great post-workout snack. It's a great just snack in general, or if you want to combine it with, like, say, a Greek yogurt or something to make it more of like a full breakfast meal. That is something that I have committed to. So instead of like scrounging for snacks, I decided I'm subscribing. I'm getting my seed cycling kit every month. I'm getting a supply of micronutrient bars every month so that I can just grab and eat. Not have to worry about it, and know that I am putting something in my body that does not have any seed oils or fillers or natural flavoring, and it's going to support my hormone health. So I really just wanted to consolidate, make things easier for myself and support my health at the same time. And then one other thing that I've committed to this month is daily castor oil packs. I'm really excited to see where this takes me. I'm not somebody that has ever had really horrible cramping or heavy periods, except for when I was on the birth control pill in my early 20s. I typically have very light periods, which honestly is a blessing, but they're too light. We want to see a healthy period bleed between 3 and 7 days. And I honestly typically err on this towards 2, sometimes 3 days. So I decided to incorporate castor oil packs and see if that could make a difference. It's good. I'm doing them over my liver. I want to see if that can stimulate some detoxification and improve the quality of my bleed. Tell me you're a menstrual health nerd without telling me you're a menstrual health nerd. Am I right? So that's what's going on with me. I am really excited to continue bringing you really exciting guests on the show, but know that I am here supporting your hormone health, your cyclical nature. If you're interested in Get Synced, if you want to try these live Pilates classes, I would love to have you. Even if it's outside of these 3 following weeks that I have set to open up these classes, message me if you want to try this out. If you want to know what this is about, message me. I want to introduce you to this community, introduce you to the things that I teach, and see how it goes, because I think you're really going to love it. And that's what's going on with me. I'm waiting for the snow to melt. I'm waiting for it to thaw out here in Montana so that I can get back to going on my nature adventures on the weekend with my dogs and Jordan, but I honestly have been enjoying this winter season for the first time in a long, long time. And I think that is another just benefit of leaning into your natural cycle, because in the past, I grew up in Illinois. I have experienced winter before. This is not my first rodeo. This is not my first snow. But when I lived in Chicago before I moved back to San Diego about 9 years ago, I was so depressed. I had so much anxiety and depression going on, so many just mental health issues happening that I was kind of leaving unaddressed. And it was a really miserable time for me experiencing winter. So just know that if you are out there and just feeling really down and miserable in the darkness and the cold of winter, know that it's, first of all, it's going to thaw out and it's going to get warm and the sun is going to come out and you're going to feel better. But also know that there are things that you can do. There are things that you can control in order to really uplift yourself. And that is something that I wish that I knew back then. I wish that I knew how I could be an advocate for my health and myself and just, take action to help myself feel better. And honestly, at the time, my action was moving across the country to Southern California. But I feel really proud of myself now that I am living somewhere where it is cold and it is dark a lot of the time, but I am not feeling anxious. I'm not feeling depressed. I am leaning into the seasons, leaning into this season of rest as much as I can, and not having to trudge through that darkness in my own mind. And I know it's hard, like, believe me, I know how rough that can feel. So I'm here. If that's something that you want to talk about, please feel free to reach out, because I want to be an ally for you. I want to uplift you. I want you to feel like the best version of yourself all the time. That's what the Spring to Life method is about. It's about finding that spring to life feeling. So that's all I have to share with you today. Thank you so much for listening to my ramblings. Thank you for tuning in to the Spring to Life podcast. Make sure you check out the show notes for the links. I'm going to link the Zoom link for those live classes. I'm going to link my email, my Instagram, and the link to get synced. If you want to just join now and roll and get the ball rolling, let's do it. I'm here for you. If you learned something or you resonated with this conversation, please share it with a girlfriend. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel. And if you are listening on your favorite podcast platform, click that little plus in the corner. Make sure you're following the show. Leave a rating or review. That is how this community thrives and grows. That is how more women are opened up to the possibilities that exist in embracing their cyclical nature. I will talk to you next week, because that's all I have.